everybody, it's ML7 and we have some news. Overwatch 2 developer blog explaining matchmaker goals and plans part 2. Welcome back, heroes, for part 2 of our matchmaking series. In part 1, we talked about how matchmaking works. It's an incredibly complex system that needs to consider many different inputs to make every single game as fair as possible. For part 2, we're going to address some community concerns, wait a minute, regarding the matchmaker from the perspective of the competitive game mode. Let's get into it. TLDR. 1. Your ranked games are formed based on your internal matchmaking rating, also known as MMR, regardless of your displayed skill tier. MMR changes based on the result of each match, with the amount of MMR you gain or lose depending on several factors like how highly rated your opponents were or how recently you last played. Our team is aware of some community pain points with competitive and matchmaking. We have a set of improvements coming to matchmaking, and we're also working on updates to the competitive system. For competitive play in Season 3, we'll reduce the number of wins between competitive updates from 7 to 5 wins or 20 losses to 15 losses. Finally! Thank you, Blizzard. This is such a good idea right now because it took so long. It took so much time, dude. This is a good change. For our matchmaker, we're implementing role delta changes that will match similarly ranked players within each role. Season 4 will include additional information about your current wins and losses. Wait, Season 4? On the competitive update screens. Our team has begun work on longer-term features and updates for both the matchmaker and competitive game mode, and we look forward to sharing more of those plans in the future. Okay, let's see. Here's what we're currently seeing in ranked. We've seen your feedback on matches with wide skill variation, and we want to talk about a few reasons that could be happening as well as our plans to address your concerns. We allow players to group together even when there's a difference in the MMR between party members, and this is a major source of wide skill disparities in matches. We're working on some changes that will match parties with similar MMR disparities together more frequently, which we expect to noticeably reduce how often we make wide matches. Okay, chat, so from now on, if a match doesn't feel fair, we're just gonna call them wide matches. I'm having another wide match. This will make it much less likely for a solo player or a party with a narrow skill disparity to end up in a match with a wide skill disparity. Okay, wide matches. Often matches with a wide displayed skill tier difference still look very close when looking at the difference in MMR between the two teams. The partial rank reset at the beginning of the season may be exaggerating this by making it look like someone is lower than their actual rank. However, regardless of the seasonal reset, both skill tier and MMR can decay over time for players who are inactive for a considerable amount of time. How much? How much time? I'm curious, what do you mean MMR and skill tier decay? How much? A day? A week? A month? 2 months? Players who return may see dramatic shifts to their skill tiers as they resume playing regularly, and the game becomes more certain of that player's current skill. Think a season? I don't know, dude. I don't know. Let's continue reading. We've also seen the community talk about inconsistent games or how some games feel incredibly one-sided. As we mentioned before, here at Blizzard Entertainment, we dub these games as wide games. And that feedback has been helpful. Okay, what are you gonna do about it? Understanding what causes one-sided matches and how to reduce their frequency has become a major area of focus for our team. This is a tricky problem because one-sided matches can happen in Overwatch. They can happen in any game, even between balanced teams. True, sometimes you might just not click. So, our first step has been to study the problem. Wait, they just started studying the problem? And understand the various factors that can cause one-sided matches, and we're planning to share what we learned with you in a developer blog down the road. Competitive updates are another topic we've been exploring. We want you to feel a sense of progression without needing to focus on a super granular number like a skill rating, but we feel and agree with the community that competitive updates are a bit too infrequent currently. Okay, so let's go from the bottom to up top. Just very short discussion on this. First things first, reducing this from takes you too much to get a competitive update. It's too much time invested. Imagine you play Overwatch 2 hours a night. It's a bit too much. The fact that they decreased this to 5 wins and 15 losses compared to 20 is a good step forward. Personally, I think it's still a little bit too much, and I think that these numbers should have been the initial numbers. In other games, I feel like you kind of get a satisfaction if you did okay or not. But in Overwatch, personally, I feel like every time I play, and I've been playing a lot of DPS recently in GM2, I feel like when I win, it doesn't matter, and when I lose, it feels really bad. Having these frequency updates, more updates, more competitive updates, more frequently, would make me feel a little bit better in a 2 or 3 hour gaming session. So this is a good step moving forward. I would have liked them to do this faster. I suggest, here's my suggestion, 3 wins and 5 losses. This is enough time to squeeze into a 2 hour gaming session, which, let's be honest, I feel like a lot of people are doing. 3 wins, 5 losses, or draws. That would be amazing. That would also create some pressure, because I'll be honest with you, ever since the system dropped, I have never received 20 losses. I only won. I was really close, 16, 17 losses. I never saw 20 losses. And 5 losses is good. Or 5 games completed, through 5 games completed. Hopefully they'll keep on working on this. Secondly, apparently they just started analyzing the problem. I'm trolling. I bet that they have been doing this for quite some time and that they're keeping their eye out on this. Okay? But we do see that they dub these games as wide matches and stuff. So from right now, moving forward, if we have some bad games in front, they're just wide games. It's very hard to balance matchmaking and stuff. But let's see what they can provide solution-wise, I guess. Here's the direction we're taking moving forward. What are we doing in Season 3? Based on community feedback, we're implementing some updates to the matchmaker that try to place pairs of players with similar MMR on each role on either team. This means that opposing tanks should be more similarly matched than before, and likewise for the other respective roles. So if I'm top 500 tank, I play against top 500 tank. Not that I'm top 500 tank, I play against the diamond tank, but my DPS is better than their DPSs. This is how I understand it. The goal with this change is to make the average MMR between each role, not between each team. This is the important part. Between each role more evenly matched to each other instead of looking more broadly across the entire team to balance things out. It's like the equivalent of having 2 incredibly highly skilled players and 3 players that are, let's say, silver for the sake of the example. Who wins? 2 top 500 players with 3 bronzes in their team, or 5 diamonds. You know what I mean? I think this is gonna be good. You know, it is debatable. Of course you can win some games and stuff, but the diamond players are gonna go the bronze players in this case. You know? This is a good change, although I think that this will make queue times incredibly long, in higher ratings at least. I feel that up until Masters, this is very good. This is very good. For Masters and higher up, yes, it's very good, but I'm curious how frequent it's gonna be. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've seen recently in my games, every time I'm matched against a top 10 or top 20 support, every game, I don't have them in my team, they're against me, which is really good. It's really good. Before, I would have games in which I would have my DPSs would be whatever, okay? And my tank and support and the other support in my team would be cracked compared to their lineup and stuff, you know? So, yeah, this is a major change to the matchmakers who will be actively monitoring for any unintended side effects. I just want to say something. We are used to experiencing long queue times at high SR. I think that a lot of players are going to rage quit if they wait for 10 or 15 minutes for a game in silver with this. So I'm a bit scared of this. We've also seen feedback that having to play as many as 26 games to get an update has been discouraging for players. Starting with Season 3, you'll now get a competitive update with every 5 wins and 15 losses. We've talked about this. This is good. In the mid-season patch for Season 3, we're also updating the UI, so information about your progress towards a competitive update will always be viewable. I'm assuming that they're talking about having on one side wins, on the other side losses. Because I've had some times in which I'm how many times did I lose? How many games did I do? Good. At least they're making moves, chat. They're making moves. They're making schmoves. Okay. Also, the beginning with our mid-season patch. Mid-season patch. So, like in the last 2 or 3 weeks of Season 3. Okay, just so we know when we can expect it. Because this is how mid-season patch has been delivered in the last 2 seasons. Top 500 players will see the top 500 leaderboard rank updated after every match rather than in competitive updates. Thank you. Thank you. This is nice because after every game we can see if we went from rank 2 to rank 1 instead of checking afterwards, going in my profile and going like, wait, did we climb? Did we do this? Like it removed a lot of the hype. So now Blizzard is helping with this. I'll be honest with you. But please, one more thing. Add the rating of the player lower left, or at least the top 500 spot lower left, because you enter a game and you see everybody top 10 in the enemy team, and everybody in your team top 10 as well. The hype that game would generate would be amazing. Right now, if you tune in and you watch, you just go based by hearsay. You go like, oh, that's a really good player. And you're like, Homegalul? I don't see the rating, I don't see anything. Okay, I trust you, fine, but Homegalul? You know what I mean? You have to see the spots. Okay. I would be a fan, though, of adding the icons lower left. At least your display, in your point of view, you know? To see lower left for you. Rather than adding it through PNG files and stuff. What we're doing in the near future. We've heard your feedback and confusion around seasonal... Wait, how did that go through, huh? We've heard your feedback and confusion around seasonal rank decay and rank resets. Wait a minute, I suspect huge news. Starting with Season 4, we're planning to remove seasonal competitive rank resets and all current and past seasonal rank decay. Wait a minute. Wait a second. So, starting with Season 4, we're planning to remove seasonal competitive rank resets. So, if you finish Gold 1... you continue next season being Gold 1? Is this what it means? Am I understanding this right? So you don't feel like you have to grind your way back again. I'm a fan of this. I am a fan of this because one of the main complaints I've read in Twitch chatting chatters was the fact that you feel like it was too much to work your way up to where you got to the previous season. Like, you got to Silver 1. I remember this clearly. In December, I remember this. A lot of you were saying, I just started playing Overwatch. I finished Silver, and now I'm Bronze again. And I felt discouraged to play again, to get to Silver, and then to try to surpass my goal, because too many competitive updates. It takes too long time. Too much time. This is okay. This part is okay. About the decay part... I'm having some issues. Because seasonal rank decay. What do you mean the plan of removing seasonal rank decay? Does this mean that if I play in Season 1 and I finish Master 1 and I come back in I play in Season 4 and I finish Diamond 1 and then I come back in Season 20 and I'm Diamond 1. Do I play in Diamond 1? Is this what it means? Do I maintain the SR that I finished? No decay for this? This is just going to create severe, unbalanced matches. I hope not. That would be bad. Like, I hope that they would keep decay after some time. But you keeping the rating, okay. It's a bit weird. I hope they're gonna nuance this a little bit. Nothing is said about the MMR lobbies are unaffected. Okay, so this means that, oh my god, the reverse might happen. You might see in your silver games somebody that has diamond rating, but they're decayed. This is what it means, right? Yeah, that's what it means. I think. I hope. We'll see. Let's continue reading. We're also looking into context. Okay. We'll continue to build up competitive updates in Season 4 when we add information about your current wins and losses to the competitive update screens. Thank you. More info, better place and stuff. All good. All Gucci. It's like I'm in 2020 again. We're hoping this additional context will help you better interpret changes to your skill tier and division the update. Thumbs up. We're also looking into possible ways to provide you with more information about the matchmaking quality of your game. What if you share the MMR? What about this? What if we would know the MMR and how much we get per game, and how much we lose per game, and how much we could get per game if we win or lose? Imagine if you would have this available. I don't think we'll ever see this because then maybe we can find flaws in the system and stuff. But just imagine a world in which that would happen. Long-term plans and goals. In the long term, we're planning to provide new ways for players to share a challenging and competitive experience in Overwatch 2. We'll share more of this down the road. That said, matchmaking improvements are an evergreen area of focus for our team, and we'll stay focused on testing and deploying continuous improvements to our matchmaking algorithm. Finally, we'll continue to watch your feedback and improve upon the overall ranked experience over time. Our goal continues to be delivering matchmaking that feels fair and balanced for everyone. Closing thoughts. Oh, it's still going. The goal of our matchmaker is to make each match as fair as possible, meaning your team has an equal chance of winning or losing each individual match. We firmly believe that the most fun games of Overwatch are when they are fair, and our team is committed to discovering and implementing new changes and updates that align with our game goal. Overwatch 2 is a continually evolving experience with new game modes, new heroes, and new maps to explore. This also means we need to provide a constantly updated experience that can deliver the fairest possible matches through effective changes to our matchmaking. Okay, corporate talk. Corporate talk. FAQs, also known as fuck yous. Do you deliberately place players into winners queues and losers queues? There are no winner or losers queues in Overwatch, Blizzard said while lying through their teeth. Your current MMR is the only thing that a matchmaker takes into consideration when forming your matches. The matchmaker doesn't force a 50% win rate on anyone, nor do we favor certain players over others. Chat, I think that this is... Okay, you might not have it, but that doesn't mean that that's not how we feel it, okay? If we go on a losing streak, we're in a loser queue. If we go on a winning streak, it's a winner queue. So get out of here with your facts, logic, and reason. There is such a thing as winner queues and loser queues. At its core, a matchmaker is the mathematical formula used to place similarly ranked players together in a match with the goal of creating as fair of games as possible. Why do I sometimes have a large win or loss streak? Sometimes, if a player goes on very long win/loss streak, it's indicative that their internal rating is not well calibrated. The best way to calibrate your rank is to continue playing competitively. Ah, yes. The more data we have, the closer you'll get to a rank that best represents your skill. However, there are times when players are going to get lucky with their win streaks or the opposite with lose streaks. We're investigating this and we'll be testing some changes to see if we can reduce this kind of streaking in the future. Does my competitive rank affect matchmaking? We only create matches based on players' MMR, not the visible competitive rank. A player's visible rank will move towards their rating over time as they continue to play during a season. When we decay ranks at the beginning of a season, this has no effect on players' underlying ratings. This is why I had in my top 100 games, platinum players. They just had MMR that top 500 players had, even though they were in plat, which is confusing. Why does the quality of my matches go down at the start of the season? When Season 2 went live, a lot of players who stopped playing during Overwatch during Season 1 came back, so the population of players playing ranked dramatically changed overnight. Ratings are a measure of your skill relative to the rest of the players you interact with. Events that cause the population to change a lot will result in some turbulence. So, Blizzard said that... Okay, Blizzard, we're exploring some ideas for how to tackle this in the future. What if players that return are more favored into finding games against players that also return? And then if you can't, then you match them with players that are playing consistently. Just as a general idea there. Can you do a full rating reset? A full rating reset wouldn't create a great experience. It would mean throwing out all the knowledge we have about players. What do you mean? Everybody's top 500. This would cause new players to be matched against Overwatch League pros, which is fun for about 30 seconds. We've experienced this ourselves in internal playtests. So it's not... So they blame it on the Overwatch League pros. Congratulations, Blizzard. Nice pointing fingers at everybody else but yourself. It's the pros' fault. No, I'm joking. This was a cute response. This is a cute response. To be clear, ratings are the 100% accurate representation of every player's skill. Some players aren't in the right spot, but the system is a vast store of knowledge about the relationship and skill between millions of players, most of whom have never even directly played against one another. And here at Blizzard Entertainment, we're all about making connections. So we try to connect why am I hard stuck at a low rating that doesn't reflect my skill.
Wait, I should be master and I'm silver.
Ultimately, your teammates. Ultimately, wait, let me give a corporate answer. Why am I hard stuck at a low rating that doesn't reflect my skill? Skill issue. Ultimately, the only way you can increase your rating is to win more matches than you lose. Ah, yes. Since we're putting any given player on a random team with 9 random other players with enough matches, with enough matches, that players' contributions are the only constant factor throughout. So their rating should end up reflecting their skill. There are some interesting phenomena here, though, that make this more complicated. For example, we have data showing that matches become less predictable the lower the average rating of the match. Wait, what? They become less predictable the lower the average rating of the match. Predictability is a measure of how likely the favored team is to win because two teams never have identical ratings. One team is always going to be slightly favored for a variety of reasons. Team coordination, gameplay mistakes, and new players who are trying out different roles and 30 plus heroes. This is just like them flexing with the fact that they have 30 plus heroes. Okay, Blizzard, okay. We've had 30 plus heroes since Overwatch 1, so shh. The result is that we get a little bit less signal to use to calibrate ratings. We're working on some ways to use the signal we get more clearly, so stay tuned. It is my opinion, Chad, that after a certain rating, I feel that 90% of the players are roughly at the same skill level, but the 10% difference is based on knowledge, feel, warm-up, synergy, and this is why you can see like amazing players in GM that should win the game that just don't click with each other. I think that with enough coaching, even if, let's say, the system doesn't favor you, you can still win, you know? I don't know exactly the rating. I know for sure in Grandmaster. Like, if everybody's GM, of course, if you're playing against the 2 Overwatch League players, you're going to probably struggle a little bit. But with enough knowledge and stuff, you can probably have a really good game and actually win quite easily. We've seen a lot of the times when this happens, because at the top level, it's more about coaching, experience, synergy, warm-up, what you ate, if you slept, if you're hydrated, if you're feeling it. It's a more like that. But at lower ratings, yes, clearly giving a team an advantage. Wait, but my problem is the following. Wait. I'll finish this really fast. My problem is the following. If it's less predictable, the lower the average rating of a match, it means that they know that one team should, let's say, 8 out of 10 times win this game in this situation, based on the stats. Doesn't this mean that they're forcing a 50-50 in win rate on you? Because it's not fair, and no, it puts you in what? So if you have to climb, you have to win games in which you're in 2 out of the 10 scenarios. They're forcing fair matches. They're saying worse players are less predictable. Crack the code. They just can't make the MMR exactly equal. If you play better, you win. Literally, that's it, chat. If you play better, you win. So, doesn't matter what game you're playing, just do your best individually speaking, and you will climb. There's no secret to it. Play your best, no matter who the enemies are, no matter who your teammates are. Remember to have fun, and you will climb. Okay. So you don't take the number of eliminations, damage dealt, healing provided, or any other scoreboard stats to adjust my MMR after each match. Wait, this is huge news. In Overwatch 2, your MMR adjustment after every match is not impacted by your performance in each match, regardless of your skill tier. Wait, this is huge! MMR adjustment after every match is not impacted by your performance, regardless of your skill tier. So it doesn't matter how much limbs, damage dealt, healing provided, or any other scoreboard stats to adjust your MMR. This is huge. From what I remember, in Overwatch 1 up until Diamond, a lot of these stats mattered. This is for a few reasons. We don't want players to be focused on doing things other than trying to focus on the objectives and win the match. Dealing the most damage or getting kills won't help your team if your actions don't help them push the payload or capture a control point. Also, for some reasons, especially those in the support role, it can be challenging to determine if the numbers they produce reflect their skill. What do you mean by this? Ayo, what do you, let me stop you guys there. What do you mean by this? It's hard to determine if a support is good or not. What do you mean by this? Explain yourself. What do you mean? Because did they just imply, excuse you, but did they just imply that supports are getting carried? Is this what Blizzard just implied? If Lucio is healboarding, he isn't that good. Excuse you? Just goes to show you. Support is not all about heals. They are saying that. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. Okay, chat. I'm trying to create something. Okay, they didn't quite say this, but I feel like some stats such as amount of healing done, time spent alive, and stuff is support stats. If this would be the case, they would take into consideration these numbers like eliminations, damage dealt, and stuff like that. Would require different factors to take into consideration, right? Because you cannot judge if a support is better than the other support based on how many limbs they have, because everybody would go in TikTok Moira mode and everybody would damage, you know? Why do streamers and pro players often have such long queue times and often end up in poor quality matches? Perhaps the largest factor that influences match quality is just the population of players at that skill level. Top 500 is a small population compared to the millions of players at lower ranks. Towards the center of the rating curve, there are tons of players in the matchmaking queue for us to choose from, all of whom would allow for a good match, so it's much easier for us to ensure a good quality match. Contrast this with Overwatch League pros, again, Overwatch League pros' fault, who make up something like 0.00001% of the Overwatch player population. For players at the very top, it's very hard to guarantee a good experience because there are just so few players. Fundamentally, it often comes down to a hard trade-off between making worse matches or dramatically increasing queue times. And they're unfortunately already very long for these players. What do you mean? I have fast queues? I don't. We have some changes coming that should improve match quality for high MMR players, and we're talking about even more sophisticated things we could do in the future. Okay, so they don't have... wait, I'm gonna put this on the side. They saw the 0.0001% meta on YouTube and they just had to go there. Okay, Blizzard, I'm gonna say something shocking. I'm gonna say something that might be really shocking. I've had a lot of good games in which even with I'm trying to put this in words, okay? You don't need to put Overwatch League players or really high rating players, I feel like, in games to make them feel good. I feel like if you would be able to detect players that are passionate about the game and are not that high SR and hop in game to try to climb, that would result in lower queue times and probably even a better experience for everybody. Because let's be honest right now, we have a lot of players, me included, sometimes that don't talk that much in ranked. Come on, chat. Come on, shut up. You're streamer, Overwatch, whatever, chat. We could talk a little bit more and stuff, you know? We could talk and stuff. Let's be honest now, you know? And sometimes it feels like you get like these really good games, you know, these really good games with really good players, and then you don't want to work together. You don't want to work, you want to work together, but I don't know what's happening, right? I don't know what's happening. And I feel like if the system would detect players that are GM5, that are playing the game a lot, and that are climbing pretty fast and stuff, that would result in better experiences rather than focusing on putting the best of the best against each other. You know? Because I've had some really good players that weren't GM1 or GM2 and stuff. You know what I mean? And they were just like thirsty for the game. I've had Masters players as well. They were just thirsty of the game. I don't know how you could detect this, but this would usually like result in probably faster queue times and better quality sometimes and more entertainment for that matter. You know? Anyway, let's conclude. So, a lot of changes. The TLDR was okay. The biggest thing I say we can take out of this is the fact that they're reducing this from 7 wins to 5 wins and from 20 losses to 15 losses. It's a start. I would like it to be lower, but it lets you actually be able to see your rating adjusting kind of fast, right? Faster than usual. Secondly, Another big thing I would say is this one with rank resets starting in Season 4, not in Season 3. They plan on removing seasonal competitive rank resets, which will result in a lot of players actually playing ranked a little bit more now because it does feel rewarding. A lot of you have been saying that you got to a certain rating and then you went down a bit and now you feel like it's pointless to play again just to go down a bit. So this is good as well. Other than that, excited to see what they can do with matchmaking and stuff, and the fact that they plan on adding, instead of team MMR into consideration primarily, they're going to take primarily into consideration role MMR. So you might result in games in which your DPSs might not be that good, right? But they're roughly the same. And the tanks might be really good, but they're the same skill. You know what I mean? Which I think will lead to some interesting games. This being said, excited for the future, and ML7 out.